Welcome to the Mind Duty. Today we bring you 11 ways to deal with a boyfriend who gets angry easily. Anger is a common emotion, and it's normal for us to get mad for specific reasons. However, getting angry too often and easily isn't normal behavior. For example, have you ever made a flippant comment that made your boyfriend mad? Or experienced moments when he was angry, and you had absolutely no idea why? If you found yourself wondering why your boyfriend gets angry quickly, you're not alone. Many women have been in relationships where they walked on eggshells, not knowing if their next move would tick off their partner. And while this might leave you wondering if it's worth the effort of staying, there are ways you can deal with a boyfriend who's easily triggered. In this video, we'll share tips on how to do this. Let's get started. Number 1. De-escalate and neutralize his emotions. I'm sure we've all experienced facing an angry person at one point in our lives. And as you might know by now, telling an angry person to just relax and calm down doesn't work. They might even feel more upset. On the other hand, if you respond with the same level of anger, you'll find that it doesn't help at all, either. In fact, getting just as angry as your boyfriend increases the tension, and before you know it, you're throwing things at each other. I certainly hope that hasn't happened to you, but I know many couples who have gone this route. So, what should you do then? Psychologists say that the trick to diffusing an emotionally charged situation is active listening. This means you must stay calm, try not to get defensive, and let him vent. Acknowledge his feelings and let him know you're listening to his perspective. If this still doesn't work, you should step back and walk away to give him time to cool off. Number 2. Address the problem when your boyfriend is calm. For many people, anger is a fight or flight emotion rooted in a deeper issue. Often, it's an expression of something that lurks beneath the surface. Typically, it is a response to the combination of pain and some anger-triggering thought. Frequent outbursts point to a deeper, underlying issue. It's worth finding out what's causing your boyfriend's anger so you can address it. However, it would be best to have this conversation only when he is calm. Otherwise, it won't be productive. High emotions and tension affect our cognitive state, so an angry person might find it challenging to discuss things rationally. Once he has calmed down, you can sit down and have a good heart-to-heart conversation. Encourage him to explain why he feels angry and keep asking questions until he fully explains his side. He might need help identifying his triggers and understanding how he can cope with them. A 2015 study found that anger is commonly triggered by 5 major categories: interpersonal demands, other people, psychological and physical distress, environment, unknown triggers. It's important to note that triggers are different from causes. A trigger is anything that sparks an intense negative emotion. For example, your boyfriend might get angry if someone bumps into him. This is the triggering action, but his anger might stem from an underlying cause, for example, stress at work or tiredness. To be able to handle your boyfriend's angry outbursts or silent treatment, it's important to explore not just the triggers but also the possible causes. Here are some of them. He needs more attention from you. He's jealous of your male friends. He doesn't like you. He feels inferior to you. He's stressed and tired. He likes someone else. He's looking for ways to break up with you. He had a tough life. He caught you in a lie and no longer trusts you. Number 3. Work through existing issues. After pinpointing the issue, talk about the steps you could take to address it together. Is it a lack of attention? Resolve to carve out more time in your day to spend quality time with him. Is it a trust issue? You may need to reassure him and make some gestures to show him your love and loyalty. Are past issues coming up to the surface? Sometimes, we think we've settled our past issues, not knowing they would come rushing back with the slightest trigger. Whatever the reason is, it's essential to work through it together. If necessary, you can enlist the help of a relationship expert. Number 4. Practice empathy and patience. Staying compassionate and patient might be the last thing you want to do, but it's essential to keep your emotions in check and try to evaluate the situation. Remember that anger could be hiding vulnerable emotions like hurt, sadness, fear, or pain. Your boyfriend might not have the tools to access these emotions and express them in a healthy manner. He might feel like anger makes him feel powerful and in control, not knowing that it's not helping him process what he really feels. Patience is a valuable trait in this instance. It involves being wise enough to let the anger pass and to avoid doing anything that may be seen as reactive. Number 5. Explain your side assertively and respectfully. Being patient and giving your boyfriend some room to vent his anger doesn't mean you have to sit there and take all the hostility in. Make yourself heard, too, but do it in an assertive and respectful way. That way, you won't have to hold your feelings back and develop resentment over time. Aside from that, being assertive empowers not just you but your partner as well. He'll see that the responsibility for the relationship is an equal load, and he will feel more encouraged to do his share. Number 6. Pick your battles. Picking your battles to win the war is a cliché for a reason. It absolutely works, even in relationships. We spend energy in every aspect of our lives, whether at work or in personal relationships. And just like soldiers on the battlefield, we only have so much energy and resources to distribute across these areas. If we try to win every single argument, we'll end up feeling burned out and exhausted. Plus, you might indeed win the argument but end up damaging your relationship in the process. Sometimes, the smartest course of action is to concede in the arguments over the things that matter the least. Exercise restraint and avoid fighting over every little difference you have with your partner. Look at the big picture and be selective about the issues you use your resources and energy on. Number 7. Set boundaries. Constantly dealing with an angry person can make you feel exhausted and even depressed. That's why it's crucial to set boundaries. It's necessary for your own emotional health and safety. As much as you need to be understanding, you must also let your boyfriend know your limits and expectations. He needs to understand that his behavior is hurtful and disrespectful. Your responses train him in how to act and treat you. For example, you could tell him, "I understand you're angry, but I'd like to talk when you're calmer." Or, "I can't accept being yelled at. I want to understand you, but I need to calm down so I can hear you better." Notice something about these responses? They're all framed as I statements. This helps to put you and what you need to take care of yourself in focus. Number 8. Reflect on your actions. It takes a great deal of maturity to reflect on your actions and the role you might have in triggering your boyfriend's anger. It's easy to slide into a blame game where nobody wins and nobody takes responsibility for their actions. Being a responsible partner means cultivating a level of self-awareness where you can examine your own actions. After all, you can't really control someone else's behavior, but you can control yours. Understanding what triggers you to behave or react the way you do helps you manage conflict and prevent it from happening again. Number 9. Admit when you're wrong and apologize. In any relationship, we should be mature enough to take responsibility for our mistakes. Defensiveness or avoiding accountability will only make an angry person even angrier. If, during the conversation or after careful reflection, you find that you were at fault, don't hesitate to apologize. Saying sorry helps mend trust. It lets your boyfriend know you understand how you contributed to the conflict. Of course, there's no guarantee that he would accept your apology. But often, an apology would be enough to set the right tone and get him to simmer down. Number 10. Lead by example. Leading by example is an aspect of the influence mindset. Instead of asking him to be kind to you, take the lead and treat him with the kindness and sweetness you want to receive from him. This strategy does wonders in shifting the energy in your relationship from a negative to a positive one. Ultimately, you want a healthy environment that's all about cooperation and collaboration rather than control. Number 11. Consider getting professional help. The strategies discussed above are generally helpful for dealing with a boyfriend who is often angry. However, some cases might be too complex for you to handle and call for the intervention of a professional. Anger management begins with self-awareness. Unfortunately, some chronically angry people are unaware of how angry they are and lack the self-awareness tools to monitor their anger levels. If that's the case with your boyfriend, he might need more counseling from a therapist to help him work through his anger issues. Counseling and therapy can provide support for chronic anger, such as self-monitoring strategies, self-soothing exercises, and assertiveness training, among others. Professional counseling is also helpful for cognitive restructuring, which involves examining and breaking down the core beliefs and automatic thoughts underlying his anger. So what do you think? Will you agree with these solutions or need to add more? Leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button.